Hi, it's Jon Mitchell, Mayor of New Bedford, and this is another installment of the Mayor's Weekly Update. So I wanted to begin this week by talking about a grant that we received from the state's Seaport Economic Council. The Seaport Economic Council is a body that was established by the governor to provide guidance in giving out grants to support the state's maritime economy. I'm, by virtue of my position as Mayor of New Bedford, I'm a member of that council and vote on projects. And sometimes I get to vote on projects that benefit New Bedford, which is a good thing. So one of those projects came up recently this week, and it involved the construction of a port security center that will be built on Pier 3. We have a growing port with more out-of-state fishing boats coming here, with more cargo vessels, with more recreational vessels, more offshore wind is coming, as we know. And so we need to make sure that our law enforcement assets and personnel are consolidated in one place. And so that's the idea here. We have state, local, and federal law enforcement that are involved in the waterfront, and they need a place where they can convene. And so that's the idea, to build a center that will be a fairly modest-sized building, but one that will be designed to look in keeping with the rest of the waterfront. It'll look nice. And so we got from the Seaport Economic Council $1 million for that purpose, which I think would be very helpful. The Harbor Development Commission will contribute some of the funding as well, but it'll help us make our harbor safer in the long run. The second thing that I wanted to talk about today was the capital investment program. So the city over the last few years has had a program in place that addresses the physical needs of the city, roads and all of our buildings. The city owns some 96 buildings. There's a lot of responsibility, a lot of upkeep that's required for all those buildings. And in the absence of a real plan years back, the maintenance of those buildings suffered. We've worked really hard to bring those buildings back up into shape, and those include also school buildings as well. So we have a number of repair projects that we've put before the City Council, which they discussed this week. I look forward to a continuing discussion on those projects, but they include money for our roads, money for New Bedford High School to repair some key facilities there, as well as money for a handful of other city buildings, including here at City Hall. It's all money well spent. When you don't repair things, they fall apart, as we all know, with our own houses. And when they fall apart, they're more expensive to put back together. So a little bit of maintenance can go a long way. The last thing I wanted to say has to do with an event this week that took place on February 14th. And I'm not talking about Valentine's Day. I'm talking about the anniversary of the 200th anniversary of the birth of one of New Bedford's most illustrious citizens, Frederick Douglass. And it really is an occasion for us to embrace everything that is Frederick Douglass, because in many ways it's great that this person is a very significant figure and in 19th century America was connected here, but even more fundamentally than that, his coming to New Bedford and living here and being part of the community and what it did for him speaks volumes about the kind of community that formed here, one that's tolerant and egalitarian and willing to accept differences and to base judgments on the content of one's character. New Bedford, throughout its history, has acquitted itself extremely well when it comes to race relations as well as civil rights. We're not perfect. I'm not saying that at all. We still have a ways to go. But what I am saying is that more than most places, New Bedford has been all about treating people the way they should be treated, and I'm so proud to be the mayor of a place that can say that about itself. So in any event, that's been this week's update. I look forward to talking to you next week.